How this riot started is that ICE was serving a series of criminal warrants at a business being investigated for money laundering, customs fraud, sending money to criminal cartels that in Colombia and Mexico that fund criminal cartel activities in the United States.
I know Gavin Newsom. I actually happen to like him as a person. The reality is he's not going to like what I have to say on this, which is that his behavior is starting to resemble that of another Democratic governor from U.S. history by the name of George Wallace, who was the governor of Alabama, who famously stood in the way of federal desegregation. And in 1963, President John F. Kennedy had to deploy the National Guard of Alabama, just like President Trump is doing today. And I know that's counterintuitive to some people, but the parallels are actually pretty striking if you think about it. Democrat governors, when you look at George Wallace, he resisted desegregation. Gavin Newsom is resisting deportations. George Wallace wanted segregated cities. Gavin Newsom wants sanctuary cities. George Wallace stood in the school door blocking the way. Gavin Newsom is blocking the ICE vans. It's the same Democrat governor playbook. You dodge the feds, you rally the radicals, and most importantly of all, you do it in front of the cameras. Because what they were both doing is really carving their Democratic primary path for their presidential ambitions. And Jesse, you can mark my words on this one. Gavin Newsom's presidential ambitions are going to end in the same place that George Wallace's did, in the dustbins of history where it belongs. That's just the truth.
Listen, if you don't agree with certain laws that this country has, it's something you go to the ballot for. You go to the ballot, you cast your vote, and you agree on things that you want for this country. The majority of people in this country that vote for who we elect are the winners. And you got to suck it up. If you lost the election with your vote, you got to suck it up for 4 years and try again. And appoint and help find a good candidate that could implement the type of policies that you want so you could win. But now that Trump is in power and the majority of people have wanted this to happen, we wanted mass deportations because we understood that prices for everything was going up. Why? Because it contributed to people coming into this country illegally, taking benefits that they did not earn. A lot of taxpayers, American taxpayers, were paying off for these housing and credit cards that these illegal immigrants were getting. And that's not a way to become an American citizen in this country. The way to become an American citizen, if you're an immigrant, is you come here through the front door, you get your paperwork completed, you have your background check, they do a full scope of who you are, and if you're eligible, then you can come into this country and have the opportunity to become a U.S. citizen, point blank. I encourage everybody to share this video. I really do. I want people to share this video so it gets out there so people can understand the process of the mass deportations, what illegal immigrants can and cannot and should not do in this country. You know, there's so many people with different opinions on this, but the point of the fact is the majority, we the people, run this country. And the majority of we the people in this country elected Donald Trump to clean up this country from criminals. And if you're going to go out there and peacefully protest. But once you start rioting and causing destruction, you have now become a criminal. And those are the people we do not need here in this country.
Major General Scott Sherman. I'm Deputy Commanding General, Army North, and in that capacity I am the commander of our Forward Contingency Command Post, which the Army calls Task Force 51. I am here on the ground leading this effort for Army North and U.S. Northcom, and really organizing operations here, the mobilization of the soldiers, the California National Guard soldiers and the 700 Marines, and organizing, planning the operations here as we support federal agencies, and in particular the U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement. Any questions?
Ready for questions?
Yes, ma'am.
And then that was my first question, is what exactly are the orders? I know that the National Guard so far has been protecting one of the federal buildings in downtown, one of the federal buildings in Westwood. but there's still a bunch of soldiers who are here. So what really will the job be now that the Guard is federalized, now that the Marines are here, headed here too? That's another question I have.
They're heading close to here, not here on this location. That is correct. 700 Marines. So with our orders directed by the President, the Secretary of Defense has mobilized. Right now it's 4,700 personnel, so 4,000 from the California National Guard, 700 Marines. And our mission is to protect federal agencies, our federal partners, their personnel as they conduct their federal mission, and even more in particular as they do the enforcement of federal law, and then also to protect all federal assets and federal facilities that are located in the locations where there have been demonstrations lately.
All right, it's been said that the mission is to protect the federal buildings and the federal personnel. Will the National Guard and Marines be protecting ICE on raids?
Yes, they would be doing cordon on that and that's strictly for the protection of the personnel as they do their job, their federal job.
Can you specify how many of the troops have been used so far on those ICE operations? And do you have any concerns about National Guard troops being pulled into like kind of regular law enforcement?
No, so I'll answer that in two parts. First, I don't have the numbers that are on the ICE, done the actual ICE operations. We have 1,000 that have done operations so far. That is both the protection of the installations or the federal buildings, and then also protection of federal law enforcement as they conduct their mission. On Title 10, on federal orders, these soldiers do not conduct law enforcement operations that like arrests or search and seizure. They are strictly used for the protection of the federal personnel as they conduct their operations and to protect them, to allow them to do their federal mission.
And to follow up on that, in the case of recent ICE raids where we've had protesters show up to those in downtown, we have seen the vandalism of federal buildings. I was reading up on Task Force 51, and I know that you're specially trained with de-escalation, crowd control, rules of use of force. At what point do these soldiers engage? What would that engaging look like?
So strict, yeah, sure.
Great
so
question.
Strictly for the protection of the federal personnel and the protection of the federal building, they're allowed to temporarily detain and wait for law enforcement to come and arrest them. They do not do any arrest. They're strictly there to detain, to wait for law enforcement to come and handle those demonstrators.
And pay attention to what he said. Detain, which means the Marines can still grab these individuals that are causing chaos and still put them in cuffs. They're not under arrest, but they're detained and can still be in cuffs. That way, they have them and they can't go anywhere. They're staying in the same position. And once local law enforcement and the Guard are able to intervene and get these individuals that are cuffed and then place them under arrest, it's just to hold them, it's just to prevent them from continuing going to different places and causing more chaos throughout the city.
What is the difference between what the Marines and what the National Guard will be doing?
They will be doing the same operations.
When they go on these raids, are the
Okay.
troops armed with ammo and their weapons, or only on their person?
Only on their person. Really, for rules of engagement, we are strictly here to protect federal facilities and to protect federal agencies and their personnel and allow them to do their job. We are strictly there to help them do their job and to protect them.
Okay, you heard it right there. I mean, we know exactly what's going to happen. I mean, they're being very transparent with the American people of what is to come when the Marines start showing up. Local law enforcement could not handle the situation, the peaceful protests that ended up turning into riots and people destroying property, businesses, going into businesses, looting them, setting cars on fire, setting the American flag on fire, which I believe should be harsh punishment. You should go to prison for destroying or burning the American flag, in my opinion. Listen, if you don't agree with certain laws that this country has, it's something you go to the ballot for. You go to the ballot, you cast your vote, and you agree on things that you want for this country. The majority of people in this country that vote for who we elect are the winners. And you got to suck it up. If you lost the election with your vote, you got to suck it up for 4 years and try again. And appoint and help find a good candidate that could implement the type of policies that you want so you could win. But now that Trump is in power and the majority of people have wanted this to happen, we wanted mass deportations because we understood that prices for everything was going up. Why? Because it contributed to people coming into this country illegally, taking benefits that they did not earn. A lot of taxpayers, American taxpayers, were paying off for these housing and credit cards that these illegal immigrants were getting. And that's not a way to become an American citizen in this country. The way to become an American citizen, if you're an immigrant, is you come here through the front door, you get your paperwork completed, you have your background check, they do a full scope of who you are, and if you're eligible, then you can come into this country and have the opportunity to become a U.S. citizen, point blank. It's that simple. But what's not simple for most people in other countries is that when they're trying to seek this country for political asylum reasons, they're rushing out of their country because they're fearing of death to themselves or their family members because of whatever political positions they're having in their country. If you have to wait 1, 2, 5, 10 years to get into America, it's going to take that long. It's not going to be easy. There's way too many. We're not the safe house of the world. It shouldn't be. We should be encouraging everybody in the world to rise up against their own governments, to have the majority of the people, of their people, vote for the best people if there's a voting system in their country. But like we've said, the majority of Americans this go around has voted for Donald Trump, who promised in his campaign that we're going to secure the border, which means we're closing the border and only allowing people to come into this country legally. Let me know what you guys think. Let's check out some more videos. I have so much to speak on. I've been gone for the past couple days, so I haven't been able to record. But I'm actually working on a new system where I'm able to record on the go and edit my videos where I could still publish for you guys. But now that I'm back home, I'm able to record and catch up with everything I've been witnessing online, especially with what's going on in LA. So let's check out some more footage.
What is the bar for sending Marines?
What I think it is, I mean, if we see danger to our country and to our citizens, we'll be very, very strong in terms of law and order. It's about law and order.
Appreciate your read on the table, sir. Secretary,
We got to see what we need. We'll send whatever we need to make sure there's law and order.
Masks that are on as well. And they say they're afraid of the police, remember, but they're throwing bricks at them. They're setting stuff on fire. This doesn't look like people that are afraid of the police. These are people that feel empowered. This is why the president has to crack down and deal with it. Gavin Newsom has had years to deal with these people, and they've been free to do whatever they want. And now the hammer is being dropped.
Well, it's the Democrats that have demonized ICE agents, called them fascists. And so the individuals hear that, they go out and protest. It doesn't make sense. You would think that the governor would want federal agents or troops, National Guard, to be sent in to help his police officers because the LA police chief said we're overwhelmed. They're using cinder blocks and hammers. They're throwing these at our cars and at our police officers. That we've even had liquid, who knows what, thrown at our officers. They shut down the 101 freeway. You can't do that.
Meanwhile, it's become mini Mexico. That's why the flags, these people are proud of it. They don't understand that it's hurting their cause, but they're not thinking about that.
And now Gavin Newsom wants to sue Donald Trump.
Right.
That's supposed to come down today.
And he's trying to stop, he's trying to stop the whole presence of the National Guard.
He's a tough guy. Why doesn't he do that? He knows where to find me. The hell is this guy? Come after me, arrest me. Let's just get it over with. Tough guy. You know, I don't give a damn. But I care about my community, and I'm sorry to be so clear, but that kind of bloviating is exhausting. So, Tom, arrest me.
Republicans, Democrats, pay attention to what Gavin Newsom is saying. He does not care about Californians. He doesn't care about the American people. He's siding with people that are inciting violence into this country. If Gavin Newsom, Mayor Bass of LA, were good leaders for California in their respective departments, you would see these individuals go out to the streets where cars are being burned, where people are looting into businesses, where they're injuring police officers. Having Gavin Newsom and Mayor Bass going out there and speaking loudly to all these people rioting and letting them know, hey, we all need to calm down. We need to be peacefully protesting. I need you all to be coming over here. I need you guys to get off the streets. I need you guys to stop injuring our police officers. I need you guys to not be looting, or the law enforcement will get involved and there will be consequences. This is how you show true leadership in your state, in your city. But no, Gavin Newsom likes to play this shit with his hands, thinking he's speaking logically and staying behind his closed doors, not doing a damn thing, and saying, you know what? It's Trump's fault. It's that man's fault. He's doing it. Gavin Newsom, this is a message for you. Get your straight, go out to the streets, and be a leader. Be a real leader and command your citizens to be peaceful. If not, they will pay the consequences by law enforcement.
Well, first of all, it's just ridiculous. That reporter from SMBC, he's a joke. He's a dishonest reporter. What we discussed was, for those protesters that cross the line, I've said it many times, you can protest, you get your First Amendment rights. But when you cross that line, you put hands on an ICE officer, or you destroy property, or I say that you impede law enforcement, or you're knowingly harboring, concealing illegal alien, that's a crime. And the Trump administration is not going to tolerate it. You cross that line, we're going to seek prosecution in the Department of Justice. Then the reporter asked me, well, could Governor Newsom or Mayor Bass be arrested? I said, well, no one's above the law. If they cross the line and commit a crime, absolutely they can. So there was no discussion about arresting Newsom. And so, you know, what he's done, he's failed that state. He waited 2 days of that city burning and people getting hurt, officers being assaulted, before he made any declaration of an unlawful assembly. He's late to the game. President Trump isn't late to the game. Men and women, our vice are not late to the game. So we're arresting bad people. We were enforcing laws and following up on a serious criminal investigation on cartel financing. So that's exactly what ICE did. And ICE took a lot of bad people off the street that day. We arrested a sexual predator, we arrested gang members, we arrested somebody that had an armed robbery conviction. So we made LA safer. The men and women at ICE, the men and women at the Border Patrol made LA safer that day. But you're not hearing any of this. All you hear is a rhetoric about ICE being racist, about ICE being Nazis and terrorists. And Governor Newsom feeds that. Just like Hakeem Jeffrey feeds it, that he's going to unmask ICE agents. And the members of Congress who keep feeding this rhetoric, they're the ones that are causing this riot because they don't listen to the truth about what the men and women at ICE are doing. We're keeping our promise to American people to make these streets safe again. And that's exactly what we're going to do. And we're not going to stop doing it.
Yeah, the only terrorists I see are the ones who are throwing Molotov cocktails at our federal agents, the ones throwing rocks at them, the ones attacking our officers, the ones impeding them. They are the ones who are lawless. Our officers are following the law. We are enforcing the law as written by Congress. We are executing warrants signed by federal judges. We're doing our job, and we're doing the task that the American people voted for in November. This is what they voted for. And no matter how many people show up, it's not going to stop us. We did all of our operations successfully.
People will be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law. He again chose escalation. He chose more force. He chose theatrics over public safety. We honor their service. We honor their bravery. But we do not want our streets militarized by our own armed forces.
Newsom claims President Trump never called him when the protests broke out, but the president is bringing in the receipts, providing a screenshot to Fox News of a 16-minute phone call between him and Newsom on Saturday. And President Trump is not backing down on his efforts to stop these violent riots. He issued a stark message to any protesters who burn an American flag. Listen.
These are animals, but they proudly carry the flags of other countries. But they don't carry the American flag. They only burn it. People that burn the American flag should go to jail for 1 year. That's what they should be doing. 1 year. And we'll see if we can get that done.
Highway and setting fire to the city in protest of Trump's administration's illegal immigration crackdown.
Jonathan Hunt is live outside of the Metro Detention Center in downtown Los Angeles with the latest.
Immigration.
Actually, I want to stop you right here because I want to bring something up. You see the people on the left out on the freeway with signs, the American flag. They're trying to prevent. They've already interviewed so many people in the streets. Why are you out here? A lot of people are saying, well, we do not want ICE to come here to find illegal immigrants. They do not want ICE to do what they are meant to do in this country. Well, that's too bad. That's too bad. We have law and order in the United States of America.
People were just gathering in community trying to, make a statement that we don't want ICE agents here in Compton, in Los Angeles, in California, period.
We don't just do whatever the hell we want. Then if we do whatever we want, then there's no law and order. There's just chaos throughout the entire country. And because there's no good leadership in California, nothing was being done about these people that were initially protesting peacefully and ended up turning to the streets. People wanted this to happen. The Democrats want this to happen and flip it in a way where they're accusing Trump. Oh, Trump's sending in the military. He's doing something he shouldn't have. Okay, well, what is your solution, Gavin Newsom? What is your solution, Mayor Bass of LA? What are your solutions to prevent anything bad from going on? Nothing was done. It got so bad, the president had to step in and say, hey, you know what? We got to activate the National Guard, help establish, help the local law enforcement, LAPD, in getting these arrests for people that are actually vandalizing, destroying, and injuring police officers and not complying with the law. And you have a gentleman over here on the right using a skateboard, destroying a vehicle, masked up. And like I said in my other videos about people being masked up, when I was talking about white supremacists marching masked up, you're all cowards. Every one of these people masked up, they're cowards because they don't want to be seen. If you're passionate about being an American and not wanting ICE to do their jobs, you should be encouraging people that are illegal in this country to gain citizenship and become a U.S. Citizen. Covering your face up is just making you a coward. You're hiding something. You're being deceitful. That is the only reason you cover your face up. We had a President Biden, who didn't do anything. If nothing was done, more cities would be rising and causing more chaos and destruction and looting, and no law and order would be established. Well, what I told my friend was I encourage people to come out here to peacefully protest, being away from major highways, being on the side where you're not restricting other people's movements into getting from point A to point B. You protest peacefully on the side, have your signs, you can shout, you can raise your American flag or your Mexican flag and be proud of it. But if the objective is to get your voice heard in this protest, you wave the American flag as well. You want to show the country, you want to show the world, I am here in the United States of America with my American flag. My roots are from Mexico or whatever country, because it's not all Mexico. There's some people from other countries. Have your other flag on the other side of you. You have two flags to wave and show your support that you want to be in this country. Nowhere in these videos you see peaceful protesting anymore. And it's not to blame the government at all. They're coming to the street only showing the Mexican flags. There's videos of people burning the American flag. That alone really pisses me off. Anytime I have seen videos where people are burning the American flag, they should be deported. I don't care if you're an illegal or a legal citizen of this country. We're deporting your ass. That should be the punishment. You don't have to be in America. You don't have to be here. But if you're going to be here, you should be appreciative of what's here. If you don't like it, that's why we have a voting system. But if you're an illegal immigrant, you don't have the right to vote. And in my opinion, you shouldn't have the right for due process either. You snuck into this country reaping benefits that you do not deserve. And as a Mexican American, and I have roots from Mexico, I am ashamed of every single person on this street, whether illegal, legal, Mexican, American, whatever, Mexican American. You are protesting wrong. You are not even protesting at this point. You are rioting. You are causing chaos. You are causing destruction. You people out there are causing a civil war to happen. And there are so many clips on here that I want to show you guys, because there's so much that I've missed in the last couple days. But in my opinion, you know, all these people out there on the streets of LA, New York, I mean, it's happening in so many other states in the country. They're not doing it right. They're not getting their point across. You think the American government's going to say, "Oh, they're burning cars, hitting, throwing bricks on our law enforcement"? These people should stay. We should welcome and love these type of people. Hell no. Hell no. These are the people we're trying to get rid of out of this country. We're promoting peace. We want peace. If these people's solution to peace is this type of crap that they're doing on our streets, they're not going to win. Their argument won't win. People aren't smart enough to figure out ways to get your point across peacefully, so you turn your ideas of peacefully protesting into havoc and destruction. You won't win. You won't win against the law-abiding citizens. And I even told some family members, I'm ready to put my uniform back on and go help the National Guards and the Marines to help detain these radicals. I will volunteer my time to go help this country again. Let me know what you guys think about this in the comments below. Like and subscribe, I would appreciate it. Till next time, peace out, everybody.